Almost died at birth. Sold his dog to survive. Today in our episode of Hero's Journey, we're gonna share the unbelievable story of Sylvester Stallone, or Rocky Balboa for the close ones. In fact, many prefer to call him by his nickname, Rambo, but both are from the same brilliant mind of the actor and Hollywood screenwriter who has inspired many generations across the globe. However, before success and fame, Sylvester suffered bitterly from hard falls. It all started on the day of his birth, on July 6, 1946 in New York. After complications during childbirth, doctors had to initiate a risky surgery on his mother's abdomen. During labor, doctors used forceps, a tool designed to help pull the baby out of the birth canal. However, the incorrect use of forceps caused damage to the nerves in Stallone's face, specifically around the lower lip, tongue, and chin, leading to partial facial paralysis. This medical mistake cost him dearly. Unfortunately, it resulted in serious consequences for his speech and smile. He grew up with communication difficulties, and part of his mouth dropped slightly to the side. And this led to humiliating bullying situations at school, where Sylvester was the target of jokes by classmates for not being able to smile properly, and heard laughter from his peers every time he spoke in public due to his strange diction. And the difficulties in his childhood did not stop there. The star also revealed he received harsh treatment from his parents, saying his mother kissed him only twice during his childhood and his father frequently beat him. During his youth, Stallone discovered a new passion. He decided to work within the seventh art. His dream was to act in movies and create good stories. However, his first years in Hollywood were extremely challenging, facing countless rejections due to his appearance and way of speaking. But by persevering, he managed to get small roles and participate in low-budget films. The problem is that in the early 70s, Sylvester Stallone was completely broke. He just couldn't sustain himself with the meager earnings from his art, and he began to accumulate debt until he reached a point where he had nowhere to live and not even money to buy food. The financial situation was so desperate that the Rambo star agreed to participate in an adult film, which fortunately was not released at the time. Despite earning a small amount of money, he soon found himself broke again and without money to meet his basic needs. But believe it or not, this was still not rock bottom for him. Sylvester had a little dog, Butkus, who was his best friend and companion during one of the darkest periods of his life. Realizing he could no longer provide a minimum of dignity for Butkus, Stallone made the painful decision to sell his companion. He stood outside a liquor store, offering Butkus to whoever gave the best price. Finally, he sold the dog for $25, an act that left him devastated. Stallone later described this moment as one of the saddest of his life, marked by tears and a broken heart. I mean, you have to be really on the edge to get to the point of selling your dog, huh? But a miracle happened the following weekend. While stopping to watch the legendary fight between Muhammad Ali versus Chuck Wepner on TV, he would have the inspiration needed to change his life. As Wepner was a mere underdog challenger facing the greatest boxer of all time, everyone imagined that the fight would end in a few seconds. However, to the surprise of the great public, the Bayonne Bleeder, as Wepner was nicknamed for his tendency to bleed easily, proved to be a very tough and resilient athlete, taking many punches. He achieved the unprecedented feat of reaching the 15th round against Ali, and at one point in the fight, Wepner even managed to knock Ali down. Even losing the fight, the match was loaded with meaning, and Wepner left the ring with a lot of prestige. After this significant event, Sylvester had an epiphany and decided to create the story of a little-known fighter who had extraordinary determination to become the best and fulfill his dreams. The resilience of Wepner in real life deeply touched Sylvester, who identified with his ability to face adversities and keep fighting. In Stallone's case, the fight was about the film industry that did not give him an opportunity to show his value. And after 20 hours of inspiration and perspiration, the Rocky script was finished, and Sylvester immediately presented the idea to some producers. After some rejections, he finally received the offer of $125,000. But Sylvester had only one condition to accept it. He said he wanted to star in the movie as the main character in Rocky. but the studio said no because they needed a real star and not an amateur actor. They even said he had a deformed face and spoke funny. Faced with these insults, Sylvester Stallone left with the script in hand and did not sell it to the producers. After a few weeks, the studio contacted him again and offered $250,000, which he again refused. Then they offered $350,000 to make his movie without his participation. And still, the high amount was not enough to change his conviction. Sylvester Stallone said he would only accept if he played the lead role in the movie. After a long period of negotiations, the studio agreed to give him just $35,000 for the script in exchange for him starring in the film. And despite the offer reduction, it was the best opportunity he had ever received in his life. But do you know what was the first thing he did with the $35,000? He bought back his faithful friend, Butkus. He had to stand outside the store for 3 days until he found the man with his dog. Unfortunately, the man refused to sell him back even for $100. Stallone then offered $1,000, and yet the guy didn't want to return the dog. Believe it or not, Stallone had to pay $15,000 for the same dog he had sold for $25 days ago. That's crazy, right? His life turned upside down in a short time. But at least now, he had a movie and his dog back. After the movie's release, Rocky won awards for Best Film, Best Direction, Best Editing, and the prestigious Oscar for Best Film. Indeed, Sylvester was right to insist on being the protagonist of the story. He brilliantly embodied the role of the fighter and was even nominated for Best Actor. The movie was such a success and broke box office records that years later, they decided to continue the story, creating 6 movies about the journey of Rocky Balboa and 3 more related films about Adonis Creed, which portrays the journey of a young athlete who has Rocky as his mentor and is trained by him to become a champion. His dedication to the films was so great that, curiously, in a fight scene in Rocky IV, one of his opponent's punches hit Stallone so hard that his heart banged against his chest, causing swelling and high blood pressure. This severe impact led Stallone to be hospitalized for several days until he could recover and return to acting. Sylvester Stallone's fame and popularity grew rapidly, and with each new appearance in cinemas, the audience went wild with the messages of bravery and persistence conveyed in his films. One of the most iconic moments is precisely a speech he gives about life and the ability we must incorporate to get up after each fall.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Throughout his career, Sylvester Stallone created an impressive legacy beyond the Rocky series, spanning a variety of genres, but with a special focus on action films. One of these films was the Rambo franchise. Starring him, it became one of the most remarkable milestones in action cinema, with John Rambo, a Vietnam War veteran, as the protagonist. The bombastic scenes of explosions, shootings, and a lot of blood mesmerized millions of people in various countries. Despite his physical limitations, Stallone managed to overcome them and refused to behave like a victim. On the contrary, he decided to turn his scars into one of his trademarks, successfully exploring his unique characteristic to create memorable roles on screen. Besides his success as an actor, Stallone proved to be a talented screenwriter and director. Therefore, his life story continues to be an example for all of us and teaches us to lift our heads and move forward no matter the size of the fall or the difficulty of the battle. Now you tell us, what was your experience with the Rocky movies, and did they have any special meaning to you? Apart from Rocky V, of course. And if you like this content, please leave a like or subscribe to our channel to reach more people and spread inspiring stories around the world. For today, we end here, and until our next episode of The Hero's Journey.